Welcome to another episode of today's GK. I'm Pooja Divedi, and in this segment, we bring to you objective questions on a daily basis to help you crack prelims. So let's begin with the practice question of last segment. Consider the following statements about Smart Cities mission. Its objective is to promote cities that provide core infrastructure and give a decent quality of life to its citizens. The mission covered 50 cities for the duration of 5 years. You have to select the statement or statements which is or are correct. One only, two only, both one and two, neither one nor two. So if you look at this question, smart cities, yes, these are cities which provide core infrastructure which are sustainable in nature, and it will also promote ease of living for its citizens. So if the first statement is correct. No, the mission does not cover 50 cities but 100 cities. So the correct answer for this question is A, that is one only. Moving on to the explanation, the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs has announced the names of the 25 cities selected for the Nurturing Neighborhoods Challenge under the Smart Cities mission. If you know about the challenge, it was launched in November 2020. If we talk about its features, it is a 3-year initiative that aims to work with Indian cities and their partners to pilot and scale ways to improve public space, mobility, neighborhood planning, access to early childhood services and amenities, and data management across city agencies. And it aims to propagate an early childhood-centric approach among Indian cities. If we talk about this particular mission, it is an innovative initiative under the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs to drive economic growth and improve the quality of life of people by enabling local development and harnessing technology as a means to create smart outcomes for its citizens, and to promote cities that provide core infrastructure and give a decent quality of life to its citizens, a clean and sustainable environment, and application of smart solutions. It focuses on sustainable and inclusive development and to look at compact areas, create a replicable model which will act like a lighthouse to other aspiring cities. If we talk about the strategy, Pan-City initiative, in which at least one smart solution is applied citywide. Develop areas step by step with the help of following 3 models: retrofitting, redevelopment, and greenfield. If we talk about its coverage, it covers 100 cities for the duration of 5 years, starting from financial year 2015-16 to 19-20. And it is a centrally sponsored scheme. That means the finances are shared between the states and the center. All right. Moving on, let's talk about our next question. The Making Peace with Nature report is released by which of the following bodies? World Economic Forum, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, Food and Agriculture Organization, United Nations Environment Program. So let's narrow down the options. It is related to nature, right? So nature could, of course, put a bell in your mind, ring a bell in your mind, and it would be, the correct answer for this would be 4, United Nations Environment Program. Now, moving on to the explanation, the United Nations Environment Program has released the Making Peace with Nature report ahead of the 5th session of the United Nations Environment Assembly. And the report explains how climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution add up to 3 self-inflicted planetary emergencies that are closely interconnected and put the well-being of current and future generations at unacceptable risk. Moving on to the next question, consider the following statements about silver antimony telluride. It is a nanometal compound synthesized from silver, copper, and tellurium, and it is a good conductor of heat, but a bad conductor of, it is a good conductor of electricity, but a bad conductor of heat. So, which of the statements given above is or are correct? The first statement is correct, that yes, it is a compound, nanomaterial compound, which is synthesized with the help of copper, silver, and tellurium. That's correct. And yes, it is a good conductor of electricity, but not a good conductor of heat. Alright, so the correct answer to this question is C, both 1 and 2. Scientists at the Bengaluru-based Jawaharlal Nehru Center for Advanced Scientific Research have found a new material, silver antimony telluride, that can help in tapping waste heat produced by all kinds of domestic and industrial appliances and use it to accomplish other useful work. Basically, the material will exploit the benefits of thermoelectric effect. The thermoelectric effect involves the process by which heat is transformed into electrical energy. And if we talk about this material, it is a nanomaterial compound synthesized from silver, copper, and tellurium. and a crystalline solid. It has free electrons and help in conduction of electricity, but its lattices, that is arrangement of atoms, are rather inflexible and vibrate quite slowly, thereby inhibiting the propagation of heat. Thus, it is a good conductor of electricity, but a bad conductor of heat, which is a property important for thermoelectric effect. There are a variety of potential applications. Industrial processes and power plants, along with all kinds of domestic appliances, produce ample amounts of waste heat that can be utilized to do significant amounts of work. Moving on to the next question. With reference to Part 17 of the Indian Constitution, you have to consider the following statements. Article 350A provides for special office for linguistic minorities, and Article 350B provides facilities for instruction in mother tongue at the primary stage. So which of the statements given above is or are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. So if we look at the first statement and the second statement, the articles and the provisions for them have been interchanged here. So no, Article 350 actually provides for facilities for instruction in the mother tongue at the primary level of education. And if we talk about Article 350B, it provides for special officer for linguistic minorities. So neither of these statements are correct. So the correct answer to this question is option D, that is none of the above. So every year the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization celebrates 21st of February as International Mother Language Day to promote mother tongue based multilingual education. Part 17 of the Indian Constitution deals with the official languages in Article 343 to 351. And if we talk about Article 350A, that is facilities for instruction in mother tongue at primary stage, it provides that it shall be the endeavor of every state and of every local authority within the state to provide adequate facilities for instruction in the mother tongue at the primary stage of education to children belonging to linguistic minority groups. And Article 350B, which provides for special officer for linguistic minorities, the President should appoint a special officer for linguistic minorities to investigate all matters relating to the constitutional safeguards for linguistic minorities and to report to him. The President should place all such reports before the Parliament and send them to the state governments concerned. Moving on to the next question, consider the following statements about shifting cultivation. The farmers clear land by slashing vegetation and burning forests and woodlands to create clear land for agricultural purposes, and the burning of waste materials provides needed nutrients for the cultivation. So which of the statements given above is or are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. So if we talk about the given statements, first statement says that the farmers clear the land by slashing vegetation, that means to cut off vegetation, and to burn the forest. So that is correct. And it is done in order to clear the land for agricultural purposes. That is correct. And the second one is that the burning of waste materials provide the necessity being the nutrients. The second statement is also correct. So the correct answer would be C, 1 and 2, both 1 and 2, right? Shifting cultivation, which is locally called jhom, is a widely practiced system of crop cultivation among the indigenous communities of Northeast India, and the practice is also known as slash and burn agriculture. It is when farmers clear the land by slashing vegetation and burning forests and woodlands to create clear land for agricultural purposes. And this provides a very easy and very fast indeed method of the preparation of the land for agriculture. The bush and the weeds can be removed easily, and the burning of waste materials provide needed nutrients for the cultivation. And it gives a family its food, fodder, fuel, livelihood, and is closely linked to their identity because of the cutting of forests and trees. This practice leads to soil erosion, and it may also affect the course of rivers. Moving on to the next question, with reference to Spurti scheme, consider the following statements. It is an initiative by the Ministry of MSME to promote cluster development, and Khadi and Village Industry Commission is the nodal agency for promotion of cluster development for Khadi. So which of the statements given above is or are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. So as you can understand that yes, it is an initiative. Spurti is an initiative by the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprise in order to promote cluster development. And yes, KVIC will be the nodal agency for implementing it, for overseeing the cluster development for Khadi. So yes, both the statements are correct. The correct answer would be both 1 and 2. Micro, small and medium enterprises Minister Nitin Gadkari has inaugurated 50 artisan-based Spurti clusters spread over 18 states and scheme of fund for regeneration of traditional industries. It is an initiative by the Ministry of MSME to promote cluster development. Khadi and Village Industries Commission is the nodal agency for promotion of cluster development for Khadi, and the main objective of the Spurti scheme is to organize the traditional industries and artisans into clusters to make them competitive, provide support for their long-term sustainability, and to provide sustained employment for traditional industry artisans and rural entrepreneurs to enhance marketability of products. And the scheme provides support in the form of 2 interventions, that is hard interventions and soft interventions. Hard interventions, these include creation of common facility centers, raw material banks, upgradation of production infrastructure and tools and technological upgradation. Soft interventions include counseling, trust building, skill development and capacity building. Moving on to the next question, the world's largest cricket stadium is located in which of the following countries? Australia, India, England, South Africa. So it may come as a surprise to you if you don't know it. The correct answer to this is India. Alright. So if we talk about the largest stadium in the world, Motera, which is the world's largest cricket stadium, is gearing up to host the day and night pink ball India-England test from February 24 to 28, and the venue is in Gujarat's Ahmedabad. It has the capacity of 110,000 but will allow only 55,000 fans in line with the COVID-19 protocol, and it's the grand cricketing launch of the stadium that hosted the Namaste Trump event, where former US President Donald Trump shared the stage with Prime Minister Narendra Modi exactly a year ago. Consider the following statements with respect to BRICS countries. The Asian crisis of 1997 was one of the major reasons behind the formation of BRICS. Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank is one of the multilateral development institutions created by the BRICS to supplement the efforts of multilateral and regional financial institutions. So which of the statements given above is or are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. So if you look at this question, the first statement is incorrect. No, it was not created because or in reaction of the Asian crisis of 1987, that is 1997, that is incorrect. And the second statement is also incorrect. So the correct answer to this question would be option D, that is neither 1 nor 2. BRICS, which is an acronym for the grouping of the world's leading emerging economies, namely Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa together. BRICS accounts for about 40% of the world's population and about 30% of the GDP, which makes it a critical economic engine. And the financial crisis of 2008 was one of the major reasons behind the formation of BRICS, the subprime mortgage crisis, which raised questions about reliability and sustainability of dollar-denominated monetary market. Alright. During the 6th BRICS Summit in Fortaleza 2014, the leaders signed the agreement establishing the new development bank, and the objective of NDB is to mobilize resources for infrastructure and sustainable development projects in BRICS and other emerging economies as well as developing countries. Moving on to the next question. Consider the following statements regarding methanol as an alternative fuel. Methanol is a clean burning fuel that produces fewer smog-causing emissions such as sulfur oxides, nitrogen oxides and particulate matter. Methanol is most commonly produced on a commercial scale from coal, and methanol economy will help India use its vast reserves of coal while driving import substitution. So, which of the statements given above is or are correct? 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3. So the first statement, yes, methanol is a clean burning fuel and it produces fewer smog causing emission such as sulfur oxide, nitrogen oxides and particulate matter. So this statement is correct. The second statement says that it is most commonly produced on a commercial scale from coal. This is not correct because it is produced from natural gas and not from coal. And if we talk about the third statement is correct, that it will help India because of its use of its vast reserve of coal while driving import substitution. Right? Moving on. The correct answer we have already discussed. Methanol is a clean burning fuel that produces fewer smog causing emissions such as sulfur oxides, nitrogen oxides, and particulate matters, and can improve air quality and related human health issues. And also, methanol is most commonly produced on a commercial scale from natural gas and not from coal, and it can also be produced from renewable sources such as biomass and recycled carbon dioxide. Methanol economy will help India use its vast reserves of coal while driving import substitution, and it can be used as an energy producing fuel, transportation fuel, and cooking fuel as well, which will cut down India's oil import bill by an estimated 20% over the next few years. Moving on to the next question. Which of the following countries share border with the Aral Sea? Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan. So which of the statements given above is or are correct? 1 and 2, 1 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, 2, 3 and 4. So if we talk about the Aral Sea, it is an endorheic lake, endorheic sea you can call, or a water body, which means that it does not flow into the sea, it is landlocked. So the correct answer here is, it is sharing its borders with Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan only. The correct answer would be option A, 1 and 2. Alright, so Aral Sea is an endorheic lake lying between Kazakhstan in the north and Uzbekistan in the south. And these are water bodies that do not flow into the sea. They are usually in the interior of a landmass far from the ocean in areas of relatively low rainfall. Moving on to the next question. Consider the following statements with respect to anti-defection law. It lays down the process by which legislators may be disqualified on grounds of defection by the President based on a petition by any other member of the House, and a nominated member shall not be disqualified if he or she joins any political party after 6 months from the date he or she takes his seat. So, which of the statements given above is or are incorrect? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. The correct answer to this question is C, that is both 1 and 2. Both the statements are incorrect. Moving on to the explanation, the 10th schedule, which is more commonly known as the anti-defection law, was inserted in the Constitution in 1985 with the help of 52nd Constitutional Amendment Act, and it lays down the process by which legislators may be disqualified on grounds of defection by the presiding officer of the legislature. And if we talk about its disqualification, if a member of a house belonging to a political party voluntarily gives up the membership of the political party or votes or does not vote in the legislature contrary to the directions of his political party, and however, if the member has taken prior permission or is cordoned by the party within 15 days from such voting or abstention, the member shall not be disqualified. And if an independent candidate joins a political party after the election, then also disqualification occurs. And if a nominated member joins a party 6 months after he becomes a member of the legislature. Moving on, let's look at the practice question. Disinvestment has been seen in the news recently. You have to consider the following statements. A minority disinvestment is one in which the government retains a minority stake in the company and it sells off a majority stake. And a majority disinvestment is one such that at the end of it, the government retains majority of stake, typically greater than 51%, thus ensuring management control. So, which of the statements given above is or are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. I hope you'll be able to answer it correctly in the comment segment. That's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated and thank you so much for watching.